Good morning. I've got my sleepy eyes on. I get to see the sun come up today too. I don't normally, well, sometimes I'm up, but not usually on a Sunday morning. I'm not normally awake at this time unless my son's working. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm a bit close. If I push back, then I'll run into trouble. For my first presentation, and so I just caught the last of Mel's presentation, which I thought looked absolutely amazing. I'm going to have to, my heat and stick powder doesn't want to work with me lately, so I'm going to have to either buy a new one or just keep trying. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, it's 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday for me, so excuse my sleepiness. Today for my first presentation, I'm going to show you how to watercolor a solid image. So I find that some of my customers aren't quite at the watercoloring stage. I've discovered that a lot of people like to watch me color, but they don't actually like to do it themselves. So today I'm going to show you a really, really simple way of watercoloring that is sort of almost like a beginner type of watercoloring. So I'm sure that anybody will be able to do it, and it looks fantastic as well. So, and it sort of almost gives the image of I can't remember the name of it. The no line watercolor, but we're stamping in images instead. So I'm going to get swung around and we can get stuck into it. I think this is the earliest I have ever crafted. So let me swing around. Now I'm going to put my hand on this one so I can swing that way and then go like that. Okay, let me just work out my bearings and find out where I am. For some reason I'm not getting... Oh, there we go. I have got comments on my iPad now. That's fantastic. Yes, you can see what Sunday looks like. A little glimpse into the future, right? Okay, just working out where I am on my screen, making sure everything is going nicely. So now, do you want to see the card that we're making beforehand, or do you want me to leave that as a surprise? Sort of after seeing that I've only watched like part of the presentation. I haven't been awake to see everybody's presentations, but I sort of feel a little bit like, oh, they're so good. They're so good. I don't know whether I'm going to stack up. But okay, so we are going to be using the Sweet as a Peach. So yes, you want to see the card first. Some people do, some people don't. So I'll bring the card in. So that's what we're going to be creating. Just make sure I'm in the screen. I've got that little bit of a little Facebook lag live going on. So that's the card that we're going to make. So we're going to be using the Sweet as a Peach. Obviously, you want to have solid images when you are choosing a stamp set for this technique. So, and I'm also using the matching dies that go with them. I'll be using the basic orders dies and also the checks and dots die, embossing folders. Okay, I'll leave that up around that area. So for this technique, I'm going to be using shimmery cardstock. Okay, I'm just going to do one sample. So, and you can use the fluid watercolor paper, or you can use the shimmery white. I have used basic white before, but this, if you use the shimmery or the watercolor paper, it actually allows you to keep going in and adding a little bit more layers in your color. Okay, so we're going to be using Pale Papaya and the Calypso Coral. Now I know that you can probably do this and then rock and roll or sponge on some color, but I find that that's quite hit and miss, and it doesn't always get you color where you want it to be. So I'm just going to ink up my solid image first and stamp my peach. I think that's all I need. I think that's all I need. I keep calling it peach. It's Pale Papaya. It's not peach. I think. Did I say call it? No, anyway, doesn't matter. And then for the leaves, I am using Pear Pizzazz with Garden Green. So when you're choosing your colours, make sure that you've got a lighter one and then a complementing one. Now, which way do I want my leaves to go? That way. Okay, and then the next bit is super easy. So grab your complementing colour that you want. Of course, give your lid a bit of a squeeze. Now I do still have a mixture of old ink pads, so And this one's really old. I haven't gotten around to updating them all yet. This one's even the old linen one. And then you need your aqua painter. Okay, and then just with the first one, let me see if I can zoom in, because it makes life a lot easier when I can do that. So we want to pick up our colour. I think I can still see my colour pad. No, I can't. All right, now I can. So when I first do, I pick up my colour from a lighter water. See how I've got one that's got really, really pulled here with a lot of ink in it. The first one that I want to do, I sort of make it a bit watery. And I do this whether I'm just normal watercolouring or whether I'm going to be doing this technique. So my first one's a little bit on the watery side. And then all I have to do is just paint on. It's almost like I don't have to do a first base of colouring. Oops, there's got my trusty rag here as well. So the first one, you just sort of lay down your complementary colour and put it on. I always wipe, I don't think you can see that in the screen, I always wipe off my brush and then come back in and just blend that out so it fades into nothing. Okay, and then again, and I'll have a little bit of colour on this side, around the top a little bit. Now I'm not going over the whole peach, like I don't want my ink to run. I know that sometimes you can bleed that out, but I don't actually want that to bleed out. I'm just adding some extra highlights. So, and then the next time I come in, I'm going to get some that's a little bit more concentrated, a little bit less watery. And I'm just going to add a little bit more colour. And you can flick it. I sort of tend to colour with a flicking motion when I've got larger images like this. And then you can, because you can sort of control a little bit better. You can control that blend so that you don't have to have these big watercolour pools. And it's great because you can just keep adding. If you want more, you just keep adding. And then finally I come in where it's really, really dense. You can put a drop of re-inker in there, and then you can just add that extra last little bit of layering colour. I don't think my comments are working too well. I'm not actually looking at my comments. I tend to not being able to colour in and do other things at the same time. I'm surprised I can even talk at the same time as colouring in. So that's why this is a really, really good beginner's type of colouring, because I can actually talk while I'm doing this one. And then of course, if you want to spread your colour out a little bit further, then just come in with your more watery one. So I sort of tend to work from 3 different areas in my ink pad as I'm colouring. This one is great, sort of almost like a cheats no line watercolouring, because you can get a really good watercoloured look without actually spending too much time colouring, and it's pretty quick as well because you're not spending a huge amount of time. Okay, and then we're going to come in with the garden green for the leaf. So it's still neat. Oh, I've still got a heap of colour in here. It's still neat, but it's still good. It gives you that really lovely watercolour look. Okay, so again, when I go for the leaf, I'm just going to take from the watery area, and I'm going to put my colour on the top. So just lightly to start with. Okay, and then we can go into the darker areas of my ink pad to pick up a bit more colour, and we just sort of want to go along, right along that edge. And because there's so much texture in a lot of these bold, I tend to choose images that have got texture in them, not like a solid line image. I don't think I've ever done this on a solid line image. And then you can just wipe off your brush tip and then just blend just lightly. I don't want to blend the whole way because I want to keep that texture. So just a little bit, go in with a really deep colour, and you'll notice that when I dip into the deep pulled area, like it's only a tiny bit on the nib. I'm not like putting my whole nib in there. I just want a tiny little dot on my brush. So that's it. I think it just adds a nice little highlight. Like I said, you could sponge colour on there, but you can't get the detail as fine with your colour if you are doing that. So then these dry reasonably quick, but as we know, if you're doing watercolouring and your paper isn't dry, you'll sometimes have trouble cutting that out. Let me just, oh no, I always forget to do this bit, so I'm just going to pull back. Okay. Sorry, yes, shimmering white. Thank you for answering all those questions for me, because I have to tap my screen to see the comments for some reason. Okay, so now to move on to the card. Now, I don't normally work in inches, so bear with me. I did do inches, and I don't think it's the same size as your normal card. We have a completely different size card. You guys use a US letter card, I think, and we use an A4, and the measurements are completely different. So I actually have my own card size. So I've adapted these cards to the card size that I use. I know it's confusing. 4 inches by 10 inches, scored in the middle at 5 inches. So my total card size is 4 inches by 5 inches. I don't know what you guys have, but that's what I've done. It seems to work. So, and then I've got a piece of, so that's pale papaya, piece of Calypso coral, which is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, whatever it is to nest in there. And then I've got a piece of Calypso coral again, and this one's 2 inches by 4 3/4. I have got a strip of garden green, which is 3 3/4 by 1 inch. This is going by your size, so I think I took it from what your size will and made sure that this card would fit in your size, so that's okay. This one's just a scrap. It's 3 inches by whatever width, obviously smaller than your 1 inch, and then just a scrap for your sentiment. So I'm just going to bring in the mini, and I'm just going to work on this one here just to add a little bit of detail. So I'm going to grab my basic borders dies. I love these, absolutely love them. So I'm going to use this one here. I've taken a fancy to that one. I have used this one as well, but I have really taken a fancy to this die here. So just going to cut right along the edge and try and get it fairly even. Right on that edge. Put that in, that'd be right. It always happens to me like that. Let me take it off and see whether I can do it that way. Now I've probably got my sandwich too close. Oh, no, we're going through. Woohoo! I guess the bonus about being up this early is that the rest of my household is still sleeping, and I've got all of the internet to myself. Okay, and now put you away so I don't lose you. I need to get magnets. That is what I definitely need to get. And then I've got the checks and dots embossing folders, which I love, and I'm going to use the dots for this one. And then, no, wait a minute, I need a different one, and these are only standard embossing folders, so we need a 1 and a 3, because these aren't the 3D ones. Now, I'm assuming if I put it on this way, I want to get it semi-straight. I can never work out which side gets raised and which side gets depressed, but I don't think, oh, that one doesn't feel, that felt very, very loose. Very loose. Maybe it's not the right one. Insert using standard embossing folders. Where's my other one? Somebody will tell me. Somebody will tell me. 4. Insert embossing folders used with 3D embossing folders. I'm sure that these are not 3D embossing folders. Do I need another plate? 1, 2, and 3. 1. Anyone got the combination for this one? I'll wait for the comments. Maybe I will try this one. That one doesn't feel right either. If all else fails, I'll get out. No, I am doing something wrong. Oh, you know what I'm doing. Duh. Told you it's too early in the morning for me. 1, 2, and 3. Oh dear. A clear cutting plate is not a number 1. It is a number 2. 1, 2, and 3. Goodness me. It's too early. It feels better. And look, it actually worked. Oh, dear me. It's okay. Let's get them out of the way. We'll get them out of the way. Oh, okay. I'm definitely having issues with comments. Rightio. Now, card assembly is pretty darn quick. Yeah, now my comments are catching up with me. I figured it out. So I'm just going to add here this. Whoops. Now I'm going to have it so that it is on my edge. Okay, line it up nice and straight. And then adhere this one. Oops, I'm a little bit too rough with that, I think. Adhere that. Now I like to have, I'm sure that your desk is very similar to mine. I have got scraps everywhere. And because I do a weird card size to most people here in Australia, I have usually got, and this is only a portion of what I have. I usually have scraps like this because that's how much I cut off my card. I don't know why, I just don't like our size card. I like your size card better. But that's only a portion of the scraps that I have on my table. So I use a lot of little scraps like this in my card making. So, and I sort of have gone to this way, instead of doing, the traditional framed layers and that type of thing, I just tend to pop little strips of card underneath rather than do a whole mat. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to do a little strip. I think it just accents things nicely, and you can put on, you could do a couple of different layers, but it just helps. And sometimes I think it helps bring out the colour of the stamped images as well, because you can use that a little bit extra. Okay, so I'm going to pop this down towards the bottom-ish area. I think that just sort of looks like, I think that's straight. I can't quite see this morning. Okay, and I have pre-cut a couple of these guys, and I'm just going to stick them together. I have got some Tombow. I haven't used this Tombow for such a long time. I use a different glue, but I'm going to use this because it usually is too much. I wonder if I can spread some. Alright, and then stick them together. And because it's on the shimmery card, I don't know whether you can see that, I'll try and bring it up. Because it's on the shimmery card, it actually, I think it has a nice little look to it. And stick you down. Right, I've got some dimensionals around here somewhere. I'm sure that your desk is like this too. Ugh. Getting real here. Okay. Pop these down, just see if there's anyone. Yeah, I have way too many scraps. Obviously, I'm getting better at not keeping them, but I can't help it. I just sometimes can't help it. So I'm going to pop the second one up too. I need you guys. And then I'm just going to pop him under, I think that's where I had my first one. Okay, oops. I am going to, I've got happy birthday on that one, but I think I'm going to use thanks so much this time. So I need my Calypso Coral, just so that everything ties in nicely. Ugh, ink everywhere. my trimmer. Now, I like my sentiments really tight. Like, I tend to go for small sentiments and really, really tight. And I do use a naughty contraband little trimmer. I'm going to try and manage it with this. I don't normally, because I can't see properly. I might have to. Yes, I love using my scraps on my cards. I think I've got a few more around. I don't think I did any on. Oh, I'll show you a couple. They're not totally not related to this, but it does relate to the cards. Whoops, that is so crooked. I'm not good on this big one. Oh, that is so crooked. Oh, maybe I'll bring that down here. Does anyone mind if I... Look, I'll do it off screen so you can't see what I'm using, but I have to get that straight. Actually, oh no, it's still crooked. There we go. I think that's better. Can't have a crooked sentiment. My golly gosh. Okay, so this one, I think I need to use minis. Make sure I've got that up the right way. No, I don't. Oh, second boo-boo for today. Because I don't want to put a dimensional right at the end because it's going to sit above my peaches. We need to have that Peaches song playing in the background. I can't remember how it goes, but... Okay, so thanks so much. And then finally, I've got some of the genial gems here, and we're just going to put a couple of them on because they are in the pale papaya colour. I don't know why, I always call this colour peach, and I think it's because I use it with the peach so much that I think that I should call it peach as well, but I can't. It's not the right colour. But, okay, so my cards I do are fairly simple, I think. So there is my 2 cards. Oh, now I did decorate the inside of this one because I had 3 peaches made first and I didn't want to waste one. So I did decorate just the inside, pretty simple. So just with a mat. So happy birthday, have a peachy day, and just popped in my extra peach. When I stamped this one, I knew that I wanted to have my leaves go the opposite way. So I made sure that I stamped it upside down and actually coloured the leaves so that they were the same as this one, so I still had the dark colour on top. So I did actually do that one upside down. So I have got a couple of extra samples for you. Obviously sticking with the bold colours. So this one I've used the Christmas season stamp set, the new one that's coming up out of the new catalogue, and I've used a sentiment from the Tidings and Trimmings. So this one is a 2-step stamping. So normally you would stamp this one here and then you would stamp that one over the top. But what I did is just went with the bold one, and I think I used I don't know which one I used, this one here. And so I stamped that one and then in crumb cake, and then I just added a tiny bit of soft suede at the bottom of each of the little pine cone thingies. I don't know what you call them. And with the colour of the leaves is soft succulent, and then I've just added a touch of evening evergreen. And the berries I used real red and then just added a little bit of cherry cobbler on the top of that one. I've used the new notes one. I can't remember what that one's called. I'm really bad. Takes me a while to get used to new names. And what else did I use? So use that, crumb cake, that, a little bit of the twine, the pack of 5 twine, and this one has actually got some of oh man, I can't think at this time of the morning. You guys will know, you'll see it, they'll be in the instructions as well. The other little gems that have got the little faceted gems, that's what they are. They come in 3 colours, clear, frosted and pink. So that's a Christmas one. And then I've also done one with the timeless tulips. And this one's a little bit fun, so there's the Timeless Tulip. So again, I always try to go for the solid stamped images that's still got a bit of texture in it. So I've stamped this one in Blushing Bride first, and then I've gone in with Flirty Flamingo and added colour around the base of the tulip and then along the lines, just to add a little bit more depth and interest and try and get those petals a little bit more separated. The stems and the leaves I did with Just Jade and Shaded Spruce. And the background, I used the die from the Border Basics and cut myself a template, and just whatever blue happened to be on my sponge. I did try to use Balmy Blue, but there must have been a darker blue ink on my blending brush already, so it sort of changed the colour a little bit, and then just added a little bit of green down the bottom as well for my tulips. So I'll bring that one up closer because you can actually see that there's a little bit of a watermark as it moves in, because there's a lot of texture in that stamp set as well. So they are my 3 samples. Let me grab them back in so you can have a look. So definitely go through your solid images, and they might have a bit of a new lease on life with them. And just a different little technique, and a very, very easy watercolouring that you can share and have a play with. So it's fun, and I just love colouring, so if I can colour in another way again, you know, and it's quick. It's so much quicker than sitting down and colouring in you know, a fine art one. It's very quick. So thanks very much for watching me. Do I need to swing around? And I think I'm always, I'm a bit close when I swing around. So thanks very much, and I will see you again in a couple of hours for another one. I think we've got, actually, I have to say that I don't actually know who's coming up next. Apologies, Melissa will know. But you will love it anyway. And then I think I'm back on again, and then it's time to go. So I hope that you're having a great day. I'm going to see if I can go back and watch a few more of the presentations that I missed, because of course they are all on replay and we can watch them as many times as we want. I've got an album for these cards, so if you have a play with them over the week, pop your cards into the album. I'll pop these ones in there as well, and yeah, you'll have a chance at winning some more prizes. So thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.